Well, we're in Yanchep National Park, and 40% of the park was burned a couple of weeks ago, and with it, a lot of wildlife lost their lives. And the people that we're traveling with right now are wildlife carers, and we are taking water and food into feeding stations that are set up around the national park. There's no food left for the animals that survive. If they have burns that are treatable, we can pull them today and get them the treatment necessary.
I can actually show you as well that this area is still hot. So I am going to take you for a little walk through to tell you where you should and shouldn't be walking.
Sure.
You can see around the trees, all that white ash is actually the roots that have burnt underneath. The other day we were through here and we swear that we could have had a barbecue on the sand.
Yeah.
Because there is still heat underneath, and this is like 3.5, 4 weeks later. Unfortunately, it also means that we have out here kangaroos with burnt feet that we can't get to. And it's frustrating and it's heartbreaking.
Clearly is completely burned through. And it's very dangerous to go too far in because it's still smoldering underneath.
When you're a human being and your house gets burnt down, you do go back. Well, the animals do exactly the same thing. There may not be food here, there may not be water here, but this is their home. And when they come back in, their feet go down holes like this, and there's a huge big temperature down there. They get burnt from the ankles down.
And this is why it's so dangerous for anyone who's not a professional to be going into the forest right now to try to help the wildlife, which is so sad.
Okay, so what this is the fact that the fire was so fierce and the roots of the tree were burning so hot, they had to dig the sand out to be able to get in there. Unfortunately, we've got the remains of a dead roo down in there as well. So it was running away from the fire, obviously, and it's been burnt and it's just collapsed in the hole. This fire was moving at, I think they calculated it at 16 metres a minute. Wow. So you try and outrun something that's 16 metres a minute.
Not many people could do that.
No. And the kangaroos can do it for a certain amount of time, but not for very long.
They get exhausted. They're finding dead animals everywhere. It's the smell of death. And yet they're putting out feeding and watering stations in hopes of keeping the animals that have survived alive. This is the reality of what's going on here in Australia.
Our mission today will be to replenish the food and the water. It's to look for tracks to tell us where we need to put the food and the water. And it's also to search for anything that may be injured so that we know we've got to come back here when the roos will be here, which tends to be late in the evening or first thing in the morning. We look for tracks. Tracks will tell us two things. They'll tell us whether or not the roos are coming in. They also give us an indication as to how many are possibly injured or burned by the way that they drag their tails. So if you've got a continual drag mark with the tail, it's because that kangaroo is doing very slow hands, feet, hands, feet, hands, feet. When you've got a healthy kangaroo, they will hop and their tails will come up off the ground. So you don't see a constant line. So we just put the roo food in that little area there so that when they come in for sleeping at night time, they've got good quality food. Because some of these guys are burnt as well, and because they're going through stress, the food that we give them has to be really good quality food. A lot of these roos at the moment have got joeys in the pouch. A lot of the joeys that we've got from this area have been found on their own because their mums have died or their mums are not giving them sufficient food and they're in quite poor condition. And a lot of the ones that we've got in, it's a common thread that they're traumatised. The little girl that I got in from the national park, this is what she was eating for days.
The sand.
Yeah.
Burnt sand.
Mm.
Yeah. Clover.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'll find wildlife carers in the bush and also in the suburbs. And so we are about to say hello to Clover.
Hello, welcome.
Hello.
Come in.
Hello.
This is Clover.
Hello, Clover.
Hey, sweetheart.
You've been through a lot, my
She
darling.
has. She was rescued at Yanchep National Park.
So you're feeding Clover a special formula. How much does it cost to feed a joey for from the time you get a joey, a couple months old, until it's ready to be released?
Hundreds of dollars. And the carers pay for that themselves. She goes through a lot of milk, and it's so important. So important.
I've been told it's about $1,400 to raise a
Yes, I would
joey
say.
just on formula, let alone the muesli.
Yeah, at least. We buy it in bulk, so it's $25 a kilo. If you've got 3 or 4 of them, you're spending a lot of money on milk.
Hi, Clover.